Hey folks, Matthew Weiss here on behalf of Produce Like a Pro. In this video, I want to talk about how to get an 808 to sound amazing, even if the 808 doesn't sound so great to begin with. 808s are extremely prevalent in today's music, not only in hip-hop and EDM, where they started from, but also in other genres like country and rock and pop music as well. So, I'm going to play this record. It's a hip-hop record. It predominantly features an 808. I'm going to explain why I kind of like the 808, but why I don't necessarily love it overall, and then show you a technique to fix it, even if it weren't a great 808 in any respect. So let's play this down a little bit. Give it a listen.
Hey, my baby wanna see me. No, she really wanna see. I'm the one on repeat. Reporting line, Charlie Sheen on sweet. Better sit down on this on TP. More like Danny Green from the D League. Call me MJ, Kobe with a 3P. Matter of fact, there.
It's not bad. I understand what the producer was doing when selecting this 808. There's a very square wave-ish distortion that's putting a lot of energy into the low mids, and this record happens to be pretty anemic in the low mids in the arrangement. So if I mute this, for example, we're going to feel like there's a whole bunch of space in that low mid range that just needs to be filled by something.
Hey, my baby wanna see me. No, she really wanna see. I'm the one on repeat. Reporting line.
Right, so the only thing in the low mids right now are the lead vocal and a little bit of that clap, but otherwise, big open space. So it makes sense to have that distortion, but here's what I don't like about it. If we actually solo it up and really listen to it, we notice that it's a very digital square sound with a lot of kind of like farting out on the transient. It's a heavy, hard clipping that doesn't sound very flattering, and there's also some pretty metallic overtones that are getting in there. So overall, it's the right idea, but not necessarily the 808 that I would go for. So here's a technique for getting an 808, and this is particularly good for getting a sub-sitting 808 to sound really, really good and intentional. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put on a low-pass filter, and I'm using a pretty steep one, and I'm putting it down to the sub-range. Here I've got it at 83 Hertz. Typically, you want to get as close down to that fundamental sine wave as you can. So if I do that, we now have this. So still a little bit of overtone in there, but it's pretty darn close to like a pure sine. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull in a guitar pedal of some sort. Well, actually this will work with all sorts of different distortions, but I tend to do this with a guitar pedal style distortion. And in this particular case here, in the box, I'm going to be using the Waves Overdrive pedal, and this is going to be used to get that mid-range energy back, all those overtones that we're looking for, because an 808 is really defined by its overtone signature. Otherwise, it's really just a sine wave. So get those tones back in. And then, if we want a little bit more of that stuff, just boost up some of the mids. Now we get the same idea going, but we just don't have all of that farting out of the transient. We don't have the metallic overtones. We're controlling the distortion that we want. Of course, there's a million different ways to do this with a million different distortions. When we bring it back in, it ends up sounding like this.
Hey, my baby wanna see me. No, she really wanna see. I'm the one on repeat. Reporting line, Charlie Sheen on sweet. Better sit down on this on TV.
So I think what I want to do here is I want to pull the drive down a little bit. I think that's a little heavy in the drive range. I think where I had it before was right. And then lastly, if we need that transient, instead of using that farty out transient that didn't sound so good, was kind of hard clipped, that's when we layer in something like a kick drum in order to define the sound a little bit better.
Hey, my baby wanna see me. No, she really wanna see. I'm the one on repeat. Reporting line, Charlie Sheen on sweet. Better sit down on this on TP.
So definitely a better character. Now, for all of my guitar players and bass players out there, there's another kind of swankier way to do this, which is the same idea, but instead of using a digital guitar pedal, we use an actual guitar pedal. Now, depending on what your setup happens to be, well, you could use this with a reamp and go through something like, say, an Ibanez Overdrive, something like that. Or if your guitar pedal happens to be one of the rare ones, like this one that I'm about to show, it might actually even have a line level in. So this guitar pedal here, and you're probably looking at it thinking that looks insane. what is happening here. Well, this guitar pedal is actually a guitar pedal that me and my business partner have created here. This is the Command Save Audio Juice Box. It is in prototype right now. So this is not necessarily 100% what's going to be released to market, but you guys are hearing it for the very, very first time, my guitar pedal. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come out. We're going to get our distortion right here. This knob that has this strange little symbol here is going to control how much distortion is coming out. I've configured it already. So now let's set this up using an actual guitar pedal. Let's use this as our before, like this. Really weird, metallic, kind of strange, and here's going to be our after. So really low, really fat, little bit of crunch on there. Let's push up some of these midtones just a little bit more, just to bring some of that good stuff back in. And now let's pull that into the context of the mix.
Hey, my baby wanna see me. No, she really wanna see. I'm the one on repeat. Reporting line, Charlie Sheen on sweet. Better sit down on this on TP. More like Danny Green from the D-League. Homie MJ Kobe with a 3P. Matter of fact, there Rose.
So nice, heavy, fat, low end, really crunchy. And this is something that you can set up yourself with a reamp and whatever guitar pedals you happen to be fond of, or once this is actually out, with a Command Save Audio Juice Box. So to sum it up, the basic formula is this. We're going to low pass our 808 down to the fundamental sine wave. We're going to apply some distortion that we like in order to get that character and signature in there, and then perhaps EQ it just to get it to sit in the track right. And then we can take any 808, good or bad, and make it sound exactly the way we like. Now, if you want to find out how I mix this record top to bottom for commercial release, you can get that right here at Produce Like a Pro. The link is going to be in the description. It's the Mixing Rhythmic Bundle, which can also be purchased individually, and I go through this track, plus you get the track outs. So if you dig this video, hit that like button. If you want to catch more videos like this, hit subscribe with the bell notification so you get notified. And you know what I say here at Produce Like a Pro? We are musicians, sound is our instrument, and I'll catch you next time.